I'm back with the auto spring tuning settings. So, kind of the default easy starting point for working with spring tuning. And I just want to use one example to look at a couple other parameters. So you get a little bit more of a sense of the different sorts of behaviors you can get with spring tuning. And the sonority I'm going to look at is this C, D, A sonority, which is a curious one because it's one that can't be just tuned perfectly because the perfect fifth here is going to push out the major sixth there. You can see the major sixth gets, every time I add the D, the major sixth gets distorted. You'll note that the perfect fifth stays the way, basically 702 cents, and that's because the perfect fifth is quite strong, the major sixth is quite weak. But in any case, you get this stretching and compressing. And it's very smooth and quite slow, in fact. And so one of the things that could be useful sometimes is adjusting the drag. The drag is like a viscous fluid that these pitches are moving through, or kind of molasses or something like that. And when it's high, they move slowly. When I make it lower, we'll start to hear it wiggle a bit. It can take on almost a vibrato-like property. It's quite beautiful sometimes. And that, combined with the anchor stiffness, can make different sorts of oscillations. So you can see with the higher stiffness, it vibrates somewhat more quickly at a higher frequency. When I lower the anchor stiffness, maybe even this as well, yeah, the interval stiffness really more, it oscillates quite slowly. So I'll pull this back up again. Okay, so that's all quite nice. I'm going to bring the drag back up again, and then we can see it move quite slowly and converge right there. Okay, so that's all fine and good. We got a sense of the way the stiffness, the two kinds of stiffnesses and the drag interact to change the way it sounds. Now, you can also get to some kind of crazy places. Let's turn the anchor stiffness to 0, and then turn the drag to 0 right now. And you'll notice something kind of interesting start to happen. The anchor stiffness is 0, drag is 0. So the whole thing is becoming unmoored. Sometimes you can get going really fast and bananas. Now if I pull the anchor stiffness up, ever so slightly, it'll come back. And some of the other notes might need to come back because even though they aren't sounding, they're already at some other distant place, so they need to come back. Let's do that again because it's kind of fun. Won't always happen. There we go. Right back. Okay? So these are parameters. Whoa, this one's some pitches that take a while to come back because the drag is now quite high. These are parameters that you could actually modify using a modification if you wanted to have something that becomes unmoored and then kind of comes back really quickly. So let's. I'm going to do that one more time, and we're going to take a look at one other parameter. Let's have it. Sometimes it takes a little coaxing to get it to go. That's going. All right. Now I'm going to turn the rate way down, and you'll notice now it's going really slowly. The rate is basically how fast do these calculations take place, and by having the rate be really slow, we're essentially looking at the spring tuning default is 100. You can have it be much higher, 400, if for some reason that is desirable in terms of, okay, enough of that. In terms of the kinds of behavior, the kind of sound that you're after. So the rate can be useful as well for adjusting the kind of sound that you like. Okay, so that's just a further explanation of a couple of the other parameters and the different kinds of behaviors you can get. There's a lot to play with, a lot to explore, and I will tell you that spring tuning at this moment is really quite unexplored. I've used it for a few things in a few different settings, but there's a lot that could be done with it that I don't think anybody has tried yet. So next video, we'll take a look at some of these settings over here, which also have some interesting properties.